G'day guys, welcome to DCS World. Today we're going to do the A-10c startup. Now, a week ago I got this plane and it's absolutely incredible plane. But one thing I noticed was doing the startup when I was trying to learn it for the first time that night. There's basically hour-long videos or so. I think this is one video that's about an hour and a half long on how to do the startup. And you just sit there and all you want to do is fly the plane. You don't want to know too much in depth at the start. You just want to get the thing in the air and fire the guns and missiles and stuff. So that's what we're going to do today. We're going to do the quickest startup I can. It's not the auto startup. It's the full switch startup and stuff. It doesn't cover everything. It's not the perfect way to do it, but this is a pretty mission capable startup. So it's pretty much the startup I use when I do missions. A couple of things that won't be in it. There's no radio stuff, but that doesn't matter. You can fly missions without turning your radio on. And the switches, well, all the switches are in the cockpit. Obviously, there are a few that are keyboard commands and stuff that just are shortcuts. So I'll try and explain them the best I can and just make sure you guys set those right. But apart from that, everything else is on my controls, and there's no point me saying what I've got things set to and hit this button and hit that button on your controls, because you guys are all going to have different controls and have everything set up differently. Anyway, let's get stuck into it. We're going to be as quick as possible, and hopefully it's a cool video for you guys. Alright guys, so we're in the A-10c cockpit. I've just got track IR as well, so that's incredibly helpful, but I'm still a bit shaky with it, so bear with me. Anyway, we're on the 104 server. Things are really quiet. There's only one person on, so I'm hoping the server just started and that's why things are so quiet. But yeah, we're going to get straight into it. So, first things first, you do your weapons. Alright, so it's the button between, it's a / the button between backspace and enter. F8, F1, then you do your loadout. I'll just do this and then I'll explain it. Okay, so with your loadout, first things first, you always take your pods. So I take an ALQ 184 and your lightning pod. Now that's your thermal optics and stuff. That's very important. You then take your Mavericks, whatever Mavericks you want. I take the 65Ds, 3 of those. Rockets, I like rockets because they're fun. You can take extra bombs in the 4th slot if you want. GBU 10s or 12s or whatnot in the center. Then it's pretty much the same. On the other side, you've got slot 10, I take smoke because it can be pretty useful if you're marking targets for somebody, and 11 you take sidewinders. So you put your pods on one side and you can take some sidewinders and stuff. They are useful. You can shoot down helicopters and you can even get plane kills with them. I've never got one, but Space Beat, who I play with every now and then, he's got a couple I think with that so far. Anyway, apart from that, you've got flares, level that, gun ammo 100%, fuel. You can drop your fuel down. This thing does not use a lot of fuel, but you start with 100% and it takes a long time to get fuel in and around your plane, so it's easy just to leave it. Anyway, we're going to, and that's good to go. Now you can start and do everything while they're arming. It doesn't take too long from the armor plane as long as they're not taking fuel out. So then we just go for startup. So first things first, you turn battery power on, standby switch on, come over the right hand side to an APU start. Click that down there. All right, while we're here, I normally just flick my boost pumps on, show you my main engines. Down the bottom here, there's an ejection seat. So just flick that down if you want to eject. That'll be pretty useful. Turn your oxygen on. Now what we're doing all that while we're waiting for the APU generator to spool up. You can see the gauge below, the fans and whatnot.
Rearming complete.
Spooling. Rearming's already done, so we're good to go. When that gets to about 90%, you're good to go. So then you turn on AC gens, APU gen, and now we've got power. So next I push Control P and come down here, and there's these switches down here. You flick position flash, anti-collision on. These rotator knobs are all your in-flight lights. So you've got console lights, crank them up, just makes it easier. Flight instruments, altitude instruments, engine instruments. Formations on the outside of the plane, makes it easy for your mates to spot you. And floodlights and interior light, so you don't really need that. While we're here, I'm trying not to move my head, you push CDU and EGI. That's your computer. That takes a long time to start, so we'll let that kick in. Now, AP generator's up and running, we've got electrical power. Next we're going to go for engine start, so I'm just trying to move my headset a bit. Alright, so engine start, I've got it set on my switches, but the easiest way to do this, right alt home and control home. Okay, so they'll start spooling, they spool one at a time. You've got to make sure you have your boost pumps on before you start spooling. And we're good to go. Now all we're trying to do is switch off all these lights. Once all these lights here are off, we're good to go. Now I just basically go left to right or right to left, depends how I want to do it. I'm going to close the cockpit because it's going to get noisy. It's Control C on your keyboard, or you just right click on the canopy open button until it goes all the way down. You have to hold the button And to open it, it's left click and just hold it and it will open. Now the engines are starting. Once the engines start, we'll turn off the APU. There's going to be a master caution, there it is, that goes off. We have to wait for both engines to spool up and we can turn off the APU. Okay, next we're going to turn on countermeasures. So 4 switches and then right click 3 or 4 times to get it onto auto. So that means your countermeasures will go off automatically. It might save your life. I always have them on automatic and it probably has saved my ass a few times. That's good. All right, we'll keep going. Now we're going to right click on both these displays and that puts them into daytime mode. It's a bit brighter, which is awesome. Okay, we're still heading across. I just do both because I remember. All right, scroll your mouse button down on the cage standby for your altimeter. All right, that releases the altimeter when that little thing flips back. Okay, then there's 3 switches on the bottom here. Turn them all on. The one on the right can go to standby, so make sure you switch it all the way on. That's your computer systems. All right, they're still booting up. It's going to take a little while for your computer to boot up. You can turn your weapon master arms on, so just toggle everything on. It doesn't matter if you're on the ground, that's fine. Landing lights, always helpful for taxiing and stuff, might save your ass. Anti-skid, turn that one on. All right, we'll keep going over. I'm sure I'm going to forget something, but hopefully we won't. Pitch SAS on. Trim SAS on, so 4 switches there, flick those on. Okay, now there's a switch behind the throttles that we have to do, so hold brake, you can throttle up, you won't move, and then it's this one here, so you flick that one on and it's your radar altimeter, turn that one on. The one next to that is your autopilot. You can't engage that until your nav system's ready. Alright, so spool the engines back down, just hold brake so you don't move. Alright, now both engines are started. We can see here that they're both good. So we turn off battery power, we turn off APU gen. Alright, the master caution would have kept going until we turned that one off, but you can just hit it and turn it off. Alright, we can see here we've only got 2 lights left to go. One is nav and one is EAC. Now, looking at your screens, we'll just zoom in because it makes this a bit easier. I know I should have zoomed in, but we'll try to rush this so we can get up in the air as quick as possible, get you guys in the air. Alright, so you got your DCS on your multifunction displays. You press load all. Notice these 4 little dots there on the side will disappear. When they come back, you can access all your menus. So it's basically loading your flight plan and whatnot, which apparently someone told me would normally go into there. And so it's like a cartridge they insert or whatnot, but yeah. So that's happening. We have to wait for that. I'm pretty sure we're right to go now. I'm just making sure oxygen's on, everything else is on. I think we're good. Okay, the little dots are back. So first things first, on this right side, we push CDU. Okay, just the button underneath is normally what it says. Now, it's got nav ready there, which is under a line. That isn't actually ready until it starts flashing, which is 4 minutes before you can trigger your autopilot and whatnot. It's better to stay stationary until that's good to go. So we're waiting for that to flash. When it does flash, we push nav here and we're good to go. Sorry about the camera. Okay, now this other screen, first things first, we push DSMS. Right, that brings up your weapons. This is how you select your weapons and whatnot. We go to missiles. Okay, then we go EO on. So that's going to warm up your Maverick system. That takes 3 minutes for your Maverick system to warm up. So by the time we get to the target, they'll be right to go. Next, we go back down the bottom here. We push TAD. All right, now this is all your navigation. We can push net at the moment, and it brings up your IDs and stuff. If you're flying with mates, it's always cool because you can see your mates on the screen. So then you go down to your keyboard down here, and basically that computer down there is just these screens as well. So everything you can see on those screens you can see down here. But what we'll do, so we'll do our flight group first, which is 045, and then we push group ID, so the icon next to that, and we're at 45 ID now. And personal ID, you can be whatever, so we're just going to go 54, whatever, doesn't matter. Okay, personal ID set to 54. That's good to go for now. We'll come back to that in a minute, so we'll just leave it there. Now, we can see the nav is flashing ready, so click that, and we're set. Now we go to TPG. This is your thermal screen, so your thermal camera. You push AG, which is the second button on the top, and now that's right to go. Now, when things say not ISO, so SIO, all you have to do is double click on the screen and then that engages control of it. So you double click, a green box appears, then you can control it. Okay, so we've got our thermal camera, we can look around and whatnot. So that's perfect for targeting and everything like that. And to disengage it, you just click on another screen and double click, and then I can come over to the TAD. I can zoom out on my map, I can zoom in on my map, I can see my objectives, which are already preloaded. so we can target them and whatnot. Anyway, we'll save that for now. Now that the nav system's ready to go, we push EGI on the controls in front of the joystick. All right, and last thing we need to do is engage the autopilot standby. So autopilot makes life a lot easier, so we can now engage the AC. That's it, we're done. So we can zoom back out if it's going to let me. I'm not flying my F-15, so I'm hitting the wrong button. Okay. Now, one last thing before you taxi. If you're used to flying the F-15s, the rudders on the F-15s and stuff are awesome and you can turn amazingly. The A-10 you cannot. So you need to engage nose wheel steering, which is S on my keyboard. I think that's a preset and you're good to go. So there we have it. Nose wheel steering makes pretty much, it's the only way you can turn the A-10 on the ground. Anyway, we're right to go. We're mission ready, and that was pretty quick and easy. I'm sure I've forgotten something, and I'm just looking to see if I've forgotten something while we taxi slowly. Okay, we can use flaps to take off. We've got a very heavy load. We've got full fuel GBU-10s, which are 3,000 pound bombs, I believe. Full weapon loadout, which we can see. So we can use flaps, but you don't. It depends on the runway, to be honest. Anyway, let's just have a quick look and see where we are. Quickly. Okay, we're down here. And we just need to taxi all the way around to the start of the runway. We'll get this thing in the air. So hopefully that was helpful for you guys if you want to do a really quick start. And yeah, you might have to watch it a few times. Just when I did it, when I was watching other people's videos, I'd start and stop things and pause things. You then have to listen to explanations, which were very helpful. And I encourage everyone to go and learn about that stuff. But if you just want to get in the air, this is going to help, hopefully. I think we're good. And obviously there's a lot of different ways to do it. I know everyone's got different ways to do it. If I've missed something and you think it's very important, let me know in the comments. But we should be pretty mission ready. I'll just reset my screen. There we go. So we'll keep taxiing. We're not going to go and strike any targets. We're just going to fire some missiles and drop some bombs quickly to show you guys how to do that. And I'll probably do another video that explains what buttons do what, but I am still learning and it's going to take a fair while to learn. So I don't really want to do a video on that until I'm absolutely certain and confident in what I'm saying. But you should be able to get some kills like this, which is the whole aim of the game. Okay, so we'll keep taxiing. Now we're not going to use flaps, but flaps are pretty self-explanatory. You just push F. I think it is on your keyboard, or you can use some control buttons like I do. But I think we can do this without it. We're going to just use the entire runway. So hold brake, which is obviously W, and should be for everybody. Full throttle.
Speed brake, speed brake.
What the hell is speed brake? You don't have speed brakes engaged. Okay, so A-10 obviously doesn't have afterburners, so you'll be able to hold your brake until you're ready to go. Unlike the F-15s, which auto trigger and you launch on your own. Alright, so speed doesn't show until you get above 50. We're at 70, 80 now, 90. Okay, about 160 for takeoff, depends on your load, but it's probably going to be most of this runway. I hope I haven't forgotten something important. Oh. 140. We can put flaps down sort of at the last minute if we need a bit of lift, but we'll be right. So 160 wasn't the whole runway, it's a long runway, which is cool. 170 will be enough to get us in the air. Oh, it's struggling a bit. Oh, we're going to get up. 180. Okay, it's a very heavy load. So gear up. Get a master caution when your gear goes up. Okay, Control M controls your weapons, your modes for your HUD. So you got nav, guns, CCIP, and CCRP. So CCIP is normally a good one to leave it in. Okay. So up in the air, we're good to go. Autopilot and everything's set now. You can trim your aircraft to fly level and steady, and it is very useful, but so is autopilot. So we just engage autopilot. I'm just going to look down and make sure it's set right. So there's a switch beside all that, and so you can hold path, you can hold altitude and heading, or you can just hold altitude. it's on altitude and heading, which shows up here on the screen on your HUD, and that's what it's doing. So we're good. Alright, now what else do we need to know? Probably not a lot, to be honest. Your TPG is your thermal camera, so we can just recenter that in front of us if we push. I can't really tell you what button to push because it's always different for everybody. Okay, so you can see now we're looking ahead with our thermal camera. You can change the thermal modes. This is where reading the manual really teaches you a lot, and having people to teach you this stuff helps a lot. Spacebee taught me a lot with this game. Okay, so you can change your thermal modes. Now you can position that anywhere you want, and you can just leave it on a marked target. You can fly the opposite direction and it will still be on that target, which is awesome. Now, the next thing, you can flick to your Mavs. So this is your Maverick screen. Everything it shows you is on the HUD. So I can put my Maverick reticle over that other one, which you can see the little SW thing there, that's SN. That's your Maverick sight. Okay, so that's now over there, and I'd be able to see the target on screen that I used my thermal scope to find earlier. Thermals are a lot better at seeing everything than the Mavericks. The Mavericks, you've only got 2 levels of zoom. Thermals, you've got 2 levels, plus you can zoom in a little bit further. So that's awesome. Okay, now, if I wanted to fire a Maverick, all you have to do, you go into DCS, you click on the Mavericks, which are in positions 3 and 9. Okay, so we've got 3 in each, so 6 in total, obviously. Then you have to find your target. Now, flying over the ocean is not going to be the best idea here, so we're going to turn a bit.
Warning, autopilot.
I know, autopilot, I know. Okay, so we'll just turn, we'll follow the coast. We just need to find a heat signature for the Mavericks to lock onto, pretty much. So we'll engage autopilot again. Okay, you can trim your aircraft, there are buttons for that, so you can always set them to your keyboard. I've got them set to up, down, left and right and whatnot, so you don't always have to use autopilot. I never did at the start, now I use it quite a lot. Again, I'll just center my Maverick screen. There we go, it comes around. All we have to do is find a target. So we need to find a heat source. Generally a building is targetable. I just need to find a good building. There we go, and you can tell when it locks on because it actually holds position a lot more. Once you've got a target, you can fire. There you go, missile away. Easy as that. So there's a lot to learn in between all that, and there goes the camera, but they're pretty simple as well. So you've got your Mavericks. Other option could be, I normally go heavy on the rockets because I like rockets, they're kind of fun. The Mark 5s are anti-vehicle, so Mark 5s are cool. We're going to switch to CICP mode, okay, and they'll give us a target reticle.
Warning, autopilot.
It's going to move away from the Maverick sight. Rockets. So rockets are pretty easy. The reticule on screen will tell you where it's going to hit. All you do, you just line up your target and you can fire. So they're pretty cool.
Pull up.
Always fun. And GBUs,
Altitude.
which are your laser guided bombs. Still working on how to use them as a laser guided bomb, so still learning a lot, of course. But the HUD gives you a trajectory for it. So you can see now if I dropped it, it's going to hit right there. Obviously I'm not going to drop it this close to myself because I'll take damage from the blast radius and I'll probably crash land. We'll just get some altitude and we can try and do it. That's pretty much it though, guys. I mean, if you go back to your TAD, if you double click it, it engages it. We can then zoom in and have a look. Alright, so 1, 2, 3, 4 are all the target areas. You can lock onto your target area and then it will appear on your HUD. So we're going to aim for target area 1 and that will show up on our HUD. Okay, let's turn and we should be able to see the target box. Okay, so that little square in front that we're now pretty much heading straight towards, that is the marker I put on the map. So that's real cool. There are ways to target stuff on the map and then your mate in another A-10 will see it as well. There's ways to target ground vehicles and target them for your friends and then they can fire their missiles. There's a lot of really cool shit. I'm still learning it though. But yeah, the A-10 is an awesome plane. I mean, why is the thermal camera looking at that? Oh god, it's looking at the side of the rocket pod. Okay, let's just turn around. There you go, now the thermal camera is looking at what it needs to be. Nope, now it's looking at something else. Okay, anyway. We'll just drop a bomb on this building ahead and we'll be pretty much done. hopefully this helps, and yeah, I don't know, it was kind of fun just to make this video. Anyway, there we go. So one bomb got dropped, and I hit the bomb and blew myself up. Amazing. First time that's ever happened. Oh god, that didn't just happen, did it? That just happened. Wow. Oh, that's the video for you guys. Thanks for watching. Catch you next time.